I think the Good Grief Trust is filling a real gap in provision because people don't know where to turn. And everything seems to be in different categories. And it's so good to have an umbrella place where people who've lost someone and those working with bereaved people can actually have a look and see what the choice is. I think it's really crucial.
So in 2012, my youngest son George, who was 1 at the time, passed away very suddenly. He was playing at home on the rug of the playroom, and he suddenly had a fit out of the blue. So we called an ambulance. The ambulance came and rushed him to our local A&E department, where within 2 hours he passed away. We left the hospital, and for the following days we heard from nobody. We were just abandoned basically as a family, and when you lose a child, when you lose anyone suddenly and traumatically out of the blue, to then be left alone to try and deal with it just was completely baffling.
I got a call from a mutual friend of mine and Rose, and it was kind of unusual for me to get a call from her because actually she was more Rose's friend than my friend at the time, but I kind of thought, okay. So I answered the phone and she told me that Rose had committed suicide. I remember just being in complete shock and just, not believing. And I remember my stomach just feeling like I'd been kicked. But actually, in hindsight, I think perhaps it would have been good to talk to somebody who's completely impartial.
I've been a counsellor for the past 8 years involved with end-of-life care, and in my capacity I've seen many families at the worst point of their lives in some cases when they're about to lose a loved one. And when that point actually comes, that's just the point when the families most need help and support in knowing where to go, who to turn to, what's available. And there is nothing out there for them. You may get lucky, you may get a good GP, you may get a good bereavement service, you may not. And for those people that don't get that, there is nowhere for them to go. They don't know where to turn. I think the thing that is most astonishing is that there is no joined up service, and I find that bewildering and astonishing that until now there has not been anything.
Thankfully, there is a way forward if you're supported properly, which is exactly the key point. I don't want anyone to leave a hospital or a hospice or to have the police knock on the door with a sudden death and not to have that information that is out there. It is there for them, giving them the right information, targeted information, by going onto the website very, very quickly. Then they can find their regional support or national support, and hopefully they'll find friendships, and then they won't feel so isolated.
I think we are in fantastic childish denial about the fact that we're all heading the same way. We are all going to die. There is nothing morbid about talking about death. I think we have to try and learn to talk about the end of life in the same way as we talk about the beginning of life.
It's important as well across the country that bereavement services come together, because there's actually quite a lot out there, but a lot of people don't know they exist, and there's no point reinventing the wheel, and it's important that charities come together to offer these families the support that, like I said, that they really do deserve.
When you're in a crisis, you need to be able to go to one place and get all the information you need. And that's why the Good Grief Trust is so needed and will no doubt be hugely used. To have all those services under one umbrella is an absolute essential.
This is a small card, but it can make a huge difference to the lives of millions of people who have lost someone close. We need to get this card into the hands of every person who is bereaved so they get signposted to the website via every frontline organisation. But we need your help and we need your funds. Thank you.